There is a trail in the Appalachian Mountains that the forest rangers don't talk about. It doesn't appear on any official hiking map. It has no name, no markers, no signs. But if you hike deep enough into the Cherokee National Forest in East Tennessee, past the Second Creek crossing, past the dead oak tree that looks exactly like a screaming man frozen in place, you will find it. A narrow path pressed into the earth, like something has been walking it for a very long time. I found that trail on a Tuesday in October. I followed it, and by Wednesday morning, there were only 2 of us who walked back out. There were 4 of us who walked in. My name is Jake Mercer. I am 34 years old. I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee. 3rd-generation outdoorsman. My grandfather hunted these mountains before my father did. My father hiked them before I did. These woods were not foreign to me. They were home. They were the place I went when the rest of the world got too loud. I had been coming to the Cherokee National Forest since I was 6 years old, sitting in the back of my dad's truck, watching the trees close in around the road and feeling nothing but safe. That is the thing about the mountains you grow up with. You trust them. You should not always trust them. The trip was my idea. 4 of us. Me and my best friend since college, Ryan Calloway, 33, from Nashville, built like a linebacker, but scared of spiders, which we never let him forget. Ryan's girlfriend, Ashley Donahue, 31, an ER nurse from Chattanooga, toughest person I have ever known, the kind of woman who stitches her own cuts and keeps moving. And our friend Derek Webb, 35, from Asheville, North Carolina, who had been going through a dark stretch after a divorce and needed to get out of his own head for a few days. 4 people who had known each other for years. 4 people who trusted each other completely. 4 days. 3 nights. Deep backcountry camping. No cell service. No other hikers. Just us and 40 miles of wilderness. We had done trips like this before. Different forests. Same dynamic. We knew how to pack light and move fast. We knew how to read weather coming in off the ridge lines. We knew how to handle ourselves out there. Or at least, we thought we did. We drove out on a Monday morning in Ryan's truck. The sky was that deep October blue that only exists in the South. The kind of blue that makes you feel like the world is permanent and clean and safe. Country music on the radio. Coffee in the cup holder. Ryan arguing with Ashley about the best way to pack a bear canister. Normal. Easy. Good. We parked at the trailhead at 9 a.m., signed the register, checked our packs, took a photo at the wooden trail marker, the 4 of us squinting into the morning sun with our packs on. 4 people smiling, completely unaware of what those 4 days were going to cost us. The first day was perfect. 8 miles through golden October forest, leaves everywhere, red and orange and deep amber yellow, covering the trail so thick in places you could not see the ground beneath your feet. We set up camp beside a wide, shallow creek and built a fire from deadfall that Ryan found and Ashley refused to admit was perfectly stacked. We ate well. We talked late into the night the way you only can when you are far enough from civilization that the silence around you has real weight. Derek seemed better already. The mountains do that. They put things back into proportion. Make your problems feel small against something that has been standing for 10,000 years. I remember lying in my tent that first night listening to the creek and thinking, this is exactly where I am supposed to be. I should have paid more attention to what else I heard that night. Because just before I fell asleep, from somewhere deep in the trees across the creek, something knocked. 3 times. Wood on wood. Slow. Deliberate. evenly spaced. Like someone sending a signal. I told myself it was a woodpecker working late. I told myself it was a branch falling against another branch in the wind. I fell asleep. I have thought about those 3 knocks almost every day since. We broke camp at 7 a.m. and hit the trail by 7:30. Day 2 plan, 9 more miles. Gain elevation. Camp above 4,000 feet, where the air gets thin and cold and sharp, and the stars at night look close enough to reach up and touch. The trail was beautiful that morning, mist sitting low in the valleys below us, frost on the fallen leaves. That particular stillness that exists in deep forest in early morning, when every living creature in the woods seems to hold its breath at exactly the same moment. We hiked single file, me in front, Ryan behind me, Ashley, Derek at the back. About 4 miles in, we crossed the second creek, stepping stone to stone across the cold, clear water, and that is when I saw it. The main trail continued straight ahead, wide, well-maintained. White blazes painted on the trees every 100 yards exactly where they should be. But off to the left, pressed into the soft, dark earth beside a large moss-covered fallen log. A path, narrow, maybe 2 feet wide, disappearing into the trees in a direction that was not on any map I had studied before the trip. I stopped. Ryan walked into my pack. I pointed at the path without saying anything. We all looked at it. Something about it bothered me before I could identify what. It was not hidden. It was not overgrown or faint. It was the opposite. The earth along it was pressed smooth and even and consistent, like something had been walking it not once or twice, but regularly, for a long time. The kind of path that gets pressed into the earth over years of use. Derek stepped toward it. Ashley put her hand on his arm without a word. Ryan looked at me. I looked at the path for one more moment. Then I turned back to the main trail and kept walking. We had 9 miles to cover, and I made the right call, and I have told myself that 1,000 times since. 2 miles later, Derek was not behind us. We noticed at the same moment. That particular silence that falls over a group when someone who was there 30 seconds ago is suddenly not. We stopped. Ryan called Derek's name. The forest swallowed the sound completely the way deep forest does, like shouting into something that has decided not to answer. We called again, louder, then louder. Nothing. We waited 5 minutes, then 10. Then we turned around and walked back. We found him standing at the narrow path, perfectly still, pack on his back, staring into the trees. I said his name twice before he turned around. His face was wrong. Not frightened, not confused. Calm in a way that didn't belong on him, like someone had smoothed all the normal expression off his face and left something simpler underneath. He said someone had been calling his name. From inside the trees, down that path, he said he heard it clearly. His full name, Derek Allen Webb, spoken in a voice he recognized but could not place. Ryan told him there was nobody out here. We had not passed a single other hiker all day. The register at the trailhead had shown no other groups entering the backcountry in 48 hours. Derek looked at the path for a long, silent moment. Then he adjusted the straps on his pack and followed us back to the main trail without another word. But for the rest of that afternoon, every single time I looked back, Derek was watching the trees on either side of the trail. Not the path ahead, not the ground. The trees, the spaces between them, the shadows that moved when the wind moved the branches above. Watching the forest the way you watch something you are no longer sure has stopped watching you. We made camp just before dark on a wide exposed ridgeline Views in every direction. Clear sky. Cold air coming down off the higher peaks. The kind of campsite that makes you feel like you can see everything around you and nothing can approach without you seeing it first. Fire going by 6 p.m. Food by 7. Ryan made his famous camp chili that Ashley said tasted like hot sadness and ate 2 bowls of. Derek laughed for the first time all trip. For about an hour around that fire, everything felt normal again. By 8 o'clock, we were in our tents. I fell asleep immediately. I woke up at 2 a.m., not slowly, not drifting up from some dream, all at once, completely and fully awake the way your body wakes you when something has gone wrong before your mind understands what. The forest was absolutely silent, not quiet, silent. The kind of silence that has physical weight, that you feel pressing in your ears. No wind, no insects, no distant water, nothing. Like every living thing within a mile of our camp had gone perfectly still at the same moment. I lay in my sleeping bag and listened to that silence. Then I heard the footsteps, slow, heavy, moving through the dead leaves around the perimeter of our camp, not rushing, not hesitating, patient, moving the way something moves when it is not afraid of being heard, when it wants you to know it is there. I laced my boots in the dark, picked up my flashlight, did not turn it on. I sat completely still and listened to those footsteps circle our camp, once around, twice, 3 times. Then they stopped, directly outside my tent. The breathing came immediately after, close, right against the nylon fabric, separated from my face by less than an inch of material, deep and slow and absolutely steady. Not the breathing of something agitated or hunting, the breathing of something that had arrived at a destination and was content to simply be there. I do not know how long I sat in the dark listening to it. Then I snapped the flashlight on and unzipped the tent in one motion. The beam cut hard through the darkness. Empty campsite. 3 tents. Dead coals. Trees at the edge of the light. Nothing. I stepped out and swept the beam in a full slow circle. Every shadow, every gap between trees, nothing moved. Then I brought the beam to the tree line, the exact edge where the forest began, and at the very limit of where my light reached, a figure, standing between 2 trees, tall, completely still, facing the camp. I snapped the beam directly onto it. Gone. No crack of brush. No sound of footsteps. No movement of any kind. Just gone. Like it had stepped sideways out of the visible world the exact moment the light touched it. I woke Ryan. He sat up with me in the dark until 4 a.m., when the sky finally started to gray at the edges. We did not see anything else that night. We did not talk much either. There are things that sit between people in silence because saying them out loud changes something, makes them permanent in a way that cannot be taken back. When the sun came up and we walked out of our tents, around the perimeter of our camp in the soft earth, footprints, large, bare, human-shaped, going around our tents in a perfect unbroken ring. Over and over, the same path, pressed deep the way they get when something walks the same ground repeatedly for a long time. And in the center of the ring, between our 3 tents, 3 small stones placed in a tight triangle. Nobody in our group had put them there. Ashley found them first. She is an ER nurse. She has seen things that would break most people. She stood over those stones for a long time without speaking. Then she looked up at me and said, "We leave right now. Not after we eat. Not after we pack slowly. Right now." I agreed. Ryan agreed. We looked at Derek. He was staring at the stones with that wrong, calm expression. He told us quietly that he had seen the trail again last night. At 2 a.m., right at the edge of the trees, the same narrow path from yesterday. He said it was lit up somehow. not like a lamp or a flashlight. Softer than that, like the light was coming from something at the far end of it that he could not quite see. He said he had opened his tent and stood at the edge of the camp looking at it for a long time. He said he had almost walked toward it. I asked what stopped him. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said he didn't know. We packed everything in under 15 minutes and were on the trail before the sun had fully cleared the ridgeline. 15 miles back to the truck, full packs, moving as fast as the terrain allowed. Not talking. That particular silence that settles over people when they are all thinking the same thing and all afraid that saying it out loud will make it worse. The forest felt different hiking out. Same trees, same trail, same October light coming through the canopy in long golden shafts. But it felt inhabited in a way it hadn't felt on the way in, like something occupied the space just beyond what you could see, like eyes on the back of your neck that disappeared the moment you turned to look. We covered 4 miles in just over an hour, then 5, then 6. The trailhead was reachable well before dark at this pace, and I started to let myself believe that we were going to be fine. At mile 7, Derek stopped. We were crossing a narrow exposed section of trail between 2 steep rocky drop-offs, the kind of place where you move carefully and single file. He just stopped. I was directly behind him. I walked into his pack. I moved around to face him. His eyes were open, and he was standing completely upright, but he was looking at something that was not there. Something past me, past the trail, past the mountain, somewhere none of the rest of us could reach. I said his name. Nothing. Said it again and put my hand on his shoulder. He looked at me. And for just a fraction of a second, his eyes were wrong. I have tried to describe this to people since and have never found the exact right words. They were his eyes, his face. Everything on the outside was Derek, but the thing looking out from behind them was not entirely him. Like a house with all the right furniture in all the right places, but the person who lives there has stepped outside, and something else has come in, and sat quietly in the chair by the window. Then he blinked. And he was back. He said sorry, said he zoned out for a second, adjusted his pack straps, and walked past me down the trail. Ashley looked at me over his shoulder. I shook my head slightly and kept moving. 1 mile from the trailhead, we stopped at a creek crossing to fill our bottles. I turned around and counted. Me, Ryan, Ashley. The trail behind us was empty. Derek was gone. We called his name for 20 minutes. Went back up the trail a half mile in each direction. The forest gave nothing back. Not a sound. Not a movement. I sent Ryan and Ashley ahead to the truck. Told them to drive to cell signal and call search and rescue. I stayed. I spent 2 hours on that stretch of trail, calling Derek's name into the trees until my voice was raw. Search and rescue arrived at nightfall. They searched for 4 days. On day 2, they found his pack, sitting in the middle of the trail exactly 1 mile from where we had last seen him. Set down carefully, straps loosened, like he had taken it off with intention and placed it there. His boots were beside it, lined up neatly, toes pointing toward the tree line. They never found Derek Webb. The search team leader, a man named Gary Pruitt, who had been doing backcountry rescue in those mountains for 23 years, told me privately and off the record that this section of the Cherokee National Forest had a history, that Derek was not the first person to vanish from this exact stretch of trail. He would not say how many others. I asked him about the narrow, unmaintained path at the Second Creek crossing. He went very still. Then he said he was not aware of any unofficial trails in that area. He said it the way experienced men say things when they are very aware of something and have made a deliberate decision not to be. That was 16 months ago. I have not been back to those mountains since. I have not hiked at all. I drive past trailheads and feel something in my chest lock up like a bolt sliding home. I think about Derek every single day, about the way his eyes looked on that last section of trail, about the stones arranged in a triangle in the center of our camp, about the footprints going around and around our tents in the dark. And I think about what he told us that last morning, that he had stood at the edge of camp at 2 a.m., staring at that lit-up path, that he had wanted badly to walk toward whatever was at the end of it, that he didn't know what stopped him the first time, because whatever stopped him the first night did not stop him the second. I have one last thing to tell you. 4 weeks after Derek disappeared, I got a voicemail. Unknown number. I almost deleted it without listening. The recording is 11 seconds long. The first 6 seconds are silence, the ambient silence of being outside somewhere. Wind, leaves, the sound of deep forest at night. Then a voice, faint, like it is coming from somewhere very far away, or from the bottom of something very deep. My name, just my name Jake, spoken once, in Derek Webb's voice. I have had the recording analyzed. 2 separate audio engineers confirmed it as a genuine human voice, not generated, not manipulated. A real person saying my name into a phone. I have listened to it over 400 times trying to hear something in the background that tells me where he is. There is nothing. Just wind. Just leaves. And Derek's voice, calm and quiet and coming from somewhere I cannot find on any map. Somewhere past the Second Creek crossing. Down that narrow path, where whatever called his name on day 2 is still walking, still waiting, still patient. And if you ever find yourself deep enough in those woods, past the dead oak that looks like a screaming man, and you hear someone call your name from somewhere you cannot see, do not stop walking. Do not turn around. And whatever you do, do not follow the light.